Walters is the place to be this Saturday. The DC Defenders play at 3 p.m. at Audi Field, and the Nats host the Mariners at 4, plus the World Cup is on all day. Walters is located across the street from Nationals Park, just off South Capitol Street.
Some days you just want to amplify your everyday look. Like when you want the look of false lashes without the extra effort. Reach for Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Volumizer Mascara. Or when you want all eyes on your smile, keep Empower Gloss Ultra Glossy Lip Serum in your bag. It's a burst of 24-hour hydration that smooths like a serum, shines like a gloss, and can be worn sheer or layered. You'll always look and feel your best with Thrive Cosmetics. Plus, every product is 100% vegan, cruelty-free, and made with clean, skin-loving ingredients that work with your skin, not against it. Amplify your everyday. Go to thrivecosmetics.com/shine26 for an exclusive offer of 20% off your first order. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/shine26.
1-2. Garcia hits one to deep right field. This one's way back. It is going, and gone. Into the home run landing above the fence in right field, the 25-foot wall. And for the third time on the road trip, the Nationals have a 2-0 lead, 2 batters into the game. Garcia has another first-inning home run. So here is Lyle. Pitch from Beck, and it's blasted right center field and deep. Jung-Hoo Lee on the run toward Triples Alley. On the warning track, it's over his head and off the base of the wall. Abrams will score. Lyle's thinking 3, racing toward third. He slides in with a triple. Nationals tack on an insurance run and lead 6-2 as Dalen Lyle has his second triple of the year. A boomer to deep right center off the base of the fence. It'll be a 1-2 to Chapman. It's on the way. Swinging a fly ball, shallow center. Nunez, the second baseman, is out. He's calling off Jacob Young. Nunez waits. He makes the catch, and the Nationals win it 6-3. It's another road series win for the Nationals as they've won the first 2 games here against the Giants. They're back to a season's best, 2 games over 500. They're 10 over on the road, 23-13, and 4-1 on this road trip.
And welcome to Nats Chat. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. I'm joined by Washington Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman of NatsJournal.com. He is at Oracle Park in San Francisco. As we are recording this at, let's see, what time is it? 2:05 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday. You know, there are many things that people like to look at on the internet late night. We'll let you figure out what some of those things are. But as I look at MLB.com at this time, I see the Washington Nationals in a virtual tie for the National League's third of 3 wildcard spots. Yes, the Nats, as we speak, are in a virtual tie for a playoff spot. This installment of Nats Chat brought to us by Table to Mat, which you can count on for all of your nutrition and personal training needs. Table to Mat offers virtual and in-person nutrition services and personal training to the DMV area. You can email Table to Mat directly through the website at tabletomat.com. That's the word table, the number 2, MAT.com. You could call Table to Mat at 240-388-2206. Your current 2026 MLB regular season standings include these 3 teams in a virtual tie for the NL's third of 3 wildcard spots. The Arizona Diamondbacks at 34-32, the San Diego Padres at 34-32, and the Washington Nationals at 35-33. The Nats late night on Tuesday night played a game that took a while and was not exactly a work of art, okay? But the Nats won this game and now are 8-2-1 over their last 11 series. In fact, the Nats now have won 5 consecutive road series for the first time since August and September of 2014. A 6-3 win at the San Francisco Giants in Game 2 of a 3-game series. The game lasted for 3 hours and 17 minutes as the Nats and Giants combined for a whopping 367 pitches, but the Nats won this off the 4-3 win at the Giants late night on Monday night. If you recall that game, that was a game in which the Nats overcame a 3-1 ninth-inning deficit by scoring 3 runs in the top of the 9th. So the Nats have won the series. They are having some road trip, 4-1 now on this 6-game trip out west. 35-33, 23-13 on the road versus 12-20 at home. Mark, for the Nats fans who stayed up to watch these late night Nats Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, those fans were rewarded, and the Nats now legitimately, certifiably in postseason contention?
I believe, Al, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that this is the first time since we started this podcast in 2021 that the Washington Nationals are in a playoff position, certainly beyond, the first week or two of the season. I don't think they got there in June of 2021 before the collapse happened. And so for the three of us and for all of you out there listening here on June 10th, 2026, this is a big moment. Now, it means nothing in terms of where they're going to be at the end of this season. There's a long, long way to go. There are a bunch of teams in this race, a bunch of teams that you would think are better positioned to emerge on top. But you know what? That doesn't matter, because right now, at this moment, the Washington Nationals are playing winning baseball and they are contending for a playoff berth. And that is something I don't think anybody could have seen coming when this season began.
This is becoming some season. I mean, this is becoming such a fun season. This is the kind of season that, if it's going to be one of these memorable, why not us kind of seasons, I mean, this is what a season like that looks like. A team with zero expectations, outperforming those expectations. And along the way, I think we've all been kind of waiting for, okay, now comes the regression. Now comes the team, having a stretch of, 8 losses in 10 games, something like that. That hasn't happened. And maybe that just isn't going to happen. This team has been remarkably consistent. The losing streaks, however many there have been tiny. Now, the team hasn't had like some massive surge, but, I actually think you can look at that in a positive way. This team isn't a function of some ridiculous winning streak that has skewed the record. This team has been ultra consistent, and that's why this team finds itself in a playoff spot as we speak.
Yeah, what did you say that record was in the last 10 series or whatever it is? They're winning series. And that's how you do this. It's not about going on these long winning streaks and then just trying to hang on otherwise. This is consistently taking 2 out of 3. And if I'm not mistaken, the only 2 series they've lost in over a month now are to the Marlins. Every other one, they've either won it or split the series. That's an amazing thing in a lot of different ways. But think back just a few days ago, when they get swept by Miami, we thought to ourselves, well, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the beginning of the slide. And what did they do? They went into Arizona against another contender in the Diamondbacks and won 2 out of 3. And then they came here to San Francisco against a Giants team that, let's acknowledge, has not been very good. But they've come in here and won the first 2 games and secured another series win. It is really impressive how they have done this, and how, you're right, this isn't just one long streak that's propelled them. They are just kind of slowly moving up that ladder by winning 2 out of 3. And I agree. I think that's a really good sign.
So the number one strength for the Nats, as you may have heard, is the offense. The Nats continue to be number 1 in MLB in runs scored. That run total now at 362. The early offense has been especially impressive. We've talked about that, and we late night on Tuesday night got more early offense from the Nats. They in this 6-3 win at the Giants. 6 runs, 8 hits, which were a home run, 2 triples, a double, and 4 singles, 5 walks. Now, the Nats did go just 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position, did strike out 11 times, but the Nats worked Giants pitchers big time in this game. And yes, the Giants are not a good team. And yes, this Giants pitching staff, not exactly lights out. But the Giants in this game used 6 pitchers. They combined to throw 190 pitches over 9 innings. The Nats deserve at least some credit for that, because the Nats had these Giants all over the place. The Nats were working counts like crazy, getting on base a ton, ultimately scoring 6 runs in this game. And the first 2 runs came in a 2-run first. It seems like every game these days, the Nats are scoring 2 runs in the first, and it happened again in this game. James Wood had a leadoff full count opposite field single to left field despite having been down in the count at 1.02. And then Luis Garcia Jr. homered again. He is the Nats starting first baseman and number 2 batter, went 1 for 3 with a 2-run homer. Garcia in that 2-run first, a 2-run homer to right field on a 1-2 pitch for a 2-0 Nats lead. How about the power from Luis Garcia Jr. lately? He, for the month of May, had a slugging percentage of .513. He, for this month of June now, has a slugging percentage of .667. A 2-run homer, more first-inning offense for the Nats in this game.
He has been such a huge part of it. Now, it begins with James Wood consistently getting on to start the game, either by single or a walk. So that's, putting Garcia in a good spot. But he is delivering some loud contact. 3 times in 5 games on this trip, they've been up 2-0, 2 batters in. Garcia's responsible for 2 of them. Curtis Mead was responsible for the other one. You can tell Garcia really likes hitting in that spot behind Wood and in front of whoever's batting third, and then C.J. Abrams. He's getting a lot of opportunities. He's making the most of them, slugging like a first baseman is supposed to, which is not something we necessarily thought would happen with him. So the early offense has been key through this all, putting them in a good position. But you mentioned it, and I want to get into the patience that they displayed later on in this game. I think from an offensive standpoint, the most impressive thing they did came in the 7th inning when they tacked on 2 runs to extend the lead. And they did so mostly by just staying patient, drawing walks, scoring on a wild pitch. You had Dylan Cruz coming off the bench to pinch hit with the bases loaded, a huge spot for him. And he didn't get antsy. He didn't chase out of the zone. He drew a 5-pitch walk. You also had Dalen Lyle drawing a bases loaded walk. That to me was maybe the best sign of what they did offensively in this game, is didn't try to force the issue, didn't try to press at all. They knew the Giants were struggling with their command, and they let the Giants beat themselves that inning.
Yeah, I mean, what that 2-run 7th lacked in, sex appeal, the 2-run 7th very much had in plate discipline. The Nats scoring the 2 runs, 2 singles, 3 walks. The wild pitch that scored a run, Jacob Young scored on a wild pitch. The Giants used 3 pitchers in that inning. Just a lot of good stuff from the Nats offensively in this game.
This is sports broadcaster Ben Raby and a longtime listener to the Nats Chat podcast. A while back, I was in the market for a personal trainers, and my ears perked up last season when I heard an ad from show sponsor Table to Mat. Proving the power of advertising, I reached out and eventually began a training program with Chad, and boy, am I ever glad I did. Chad will work with you to devise a personal program. The communication, the flexible scheduling, and the setup at his home gym are all great. I legitimately bounced around trainers and gym programs for years, and I've never had a more productive and enjoyable experience than working with Chad. Do what I did. Visit him online at tabletomat.com. That's table, the number 2, and mat, M-A-T, tabletomat.com. Reach out to Chad. Hear the terrific workout programs he can build for you. Plus, like you, he's a huge Nats fan.
2-0 count, and now the pitch. Breaking ball, grounded weakly left side. It's through. It sneaks through the drawn-in infield and out into left field for a hit. Jacob Young will score. Wood rounds at first and holds, and the Nationals lead it 3-0.
I mentioned James Wood, so he is the Nats starting right fielder and number 1 batter, 3 for 5 with an RBI single and 2 other singles. He also had a stolen base. Wood in the Nats' 1-run 5th. A 1-out opposite field, seeing eye RBI single through the left side of the infield to put the Nats up 3-0. And I wanted to especially highlight this because that single had an exit velocity of just 67.9 miles per hour per StatCast. How often do we talk about Wood having these mammoth exit velocities, right? And sure enough, he in this game had the 2 highest exit velocities of the game, those coming on his 2 non-RBI singles. So pretty unique to see a James Wood single at 67.9 miles per hour, and it ended up being his RBI single in this game.
Well, even more amazing is that it came on the heels of a 102-mile-an-hour triple by Jacob Young right in front of him. And I said, if you knew those 2 exit velocities and those two hitters that were up in that inning, who would you think would be responsible for the 102-mile-an-hour hit, and who do you think would be responsible for the 67-mile-an-hour hit? It was completely reversed from what you normally expect. So nice to see James Wood get some good luck for a change, because that's not usually his game to do that. A really good night for him, and there aren't a lot of 3-hit nights for him that are just singles. We tend to think of that being, he must have homered, he must have doubled, something like that. Good for him for finding a way to get base hits just when they needed them on a night when they didn't have a ton of hits, but they were meaningful hits when they got them.
Yeah, James Wood channeling his inner Alcides Escobar. You mentioned Jacob Young with a triple. Each team in this game had 2 triples. Jacob Young, as the Nats starting center fielder and number 9 batter, 2 for 4 with a triple and a single. He in that Nats 1-run fifth had a 1-out opposite field triple to right center field. And Dalen Lyle, he is the Nats starting left fielder and number 5 batter, got on base 4 times, 1 for 2 with an RBI triple, a bases loaded walk, another walk, and a hit by pitch. Lyle in the Nats 1-run ninth, a 2-out first pitch RBI triple to deep right center field for a 6-2 Nats lead. Now, Oracle Park is conducive to the triple, but still, to see the Nats do as they did in this game, like you said, not a ton of hits for the Nats in this game, but a homer, 2 triples, a double, 4 singles, 5 walks, like offensive diversity on display from the Nats in this game.
Yeah, that was good. This is a great ballpark for hitters like the Nationals. They call it Triples Alley in right center. I'm looking at it right now as we record. It's 415 feet to deep right center field. And both Young and Lyle took full advantage of those dimensions on their triples in this game. It was, like you said, well balanced, big hits in the right moments, patience when they needed it as well. This game was kind of like flipped from what we've come to expect of the Nationals in recent years, where the other team is struggling on the mound and the Nats were the ones taking full advantage of it. And then on the flip side, as we'll get to, the pitching staff kept getting into trouble, but kept finding ways to get out of it. I feel like the past several years, it would have been the exact opposite. The Nats would not have taken advantage of their opportunities, and they would have wilted on the mound when, they were in trouble. And so maybe that's another sign of the progress and the maturity of this team, that they took a game that honestly could have gone either way and seized full control of it. This was not in doubt, this game at the end of the night in the 9th inning. And that's because they came through in the most important spots and the other team did not.
Yeah, and you would have seen previous Nats teams, score 2 runs in the top of the first and then not score the rest of the game. Or you would have seen a previous Nats team blow a lead as the game went on because the bullpen would have allowed some of those many runners on base to score, something like that. And we didn't see any of that in this game. But just to put a capper on the offense, the Nats number 1 in MLB in runs at 362, tied for number 5 in MLB in home runs at 87, number 5 in MLB in team OPS at 739, number 1 in MLB in first inning runs. I mean, on and on I can go. I would love to know, Paul Taboni, Blake Butera, when they're talking behind closed doors before a game, the morning of a game, whatever, do they look at this offense and are they like, we can't believe this? Like, we're as shocked as the rest of you guys. Or are Taboni and Butera looking at this and saying, yeah, we believe in this. We believe in the process. We believe in the development of these young players. We believe that this thing can continue to be as good as it has been. I'd love to know deep down inside, Paul Taboni, Blake Butera, what are they truly thinking about this high-level elite offense that the Nats have right now?
I'm going to guess that they were hopeful that something along these lines was possible when it started, because they saw the talent that was in this lineup. And I think everybody acknowledged coming into the year, they were more likely to have a good offensive team than a good pitching staff. I think that part was probably true. Now, that said, I don't know that they could have foreseen it working this well, this quickly. They probably thought it might take a little more time to get there. Maybe some of the names that have been really involved in it, they weren't necessarily thinking in those terms. But I also think within a month, certainly within 6 weeks of the season, as they started to do this, I think they came to now expect these kind of things, where I think if you ask them right now, they honestly believe this team can continue to hit to this level. Now, will they? I don't know. But I think in their minds, they've seen enough to know that this is who they can be offensively. Maybe they didn't know that for sure on opening day. They were hopeful of it. I think now they do believe that this team can sustain something to this level the rest of the way. And it's such a credit to everybody involved, from the coaching staff, the front office, to the players themselves, for making that possible here 68 games in.
The process is producing in a way that nobody could have reasonably anticipated. Al Galdi here to tell you about Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale that's going on this summer during the heat. But before that, the Window Nation look into the future.
The 2-1 is crashed towards center field. This has got a shot to go. Backheads Ward, that's gone. Abimelech Ortiz homers off Worcester again. Make it 4-1 Red Wings. It's his 7th homer in 12 games against Worcester this year. Give him 22 batted in against the Woo Sox.
Window Nation has a great offer for listeners of the Nats Chat podcast, the Buy 4, Get 4 free sale, during which you could replace all of your home's windows and get half of them for free. Plus, you can get your windows with no money down and no payments or interest for 2 years. The sale ends soon, so call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com now to book a consultation. 866-99-WINDOW NATION or windownation.com to book a consultation, and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast.
The pitch. Swinging a pop-up. This one near the mound. Abrams, Bebas come in. Abrams takes charge. Left side of the mound, makes the catch. Alvarez smacks his glove. He escapes a bases-loaded one-out jam with a strikeout on a first pitch pop-up. Nice poise, nice work for the rookie, Andrew Alvarez.
So the Nats starting pitcher in this 6-3 win at the Giants late night on Tuesday night was Andrew Alvarez. He officially allowed 2 runs in 4 innings, but he's lucky that that final line was not worse. So he put a lot of guys on base, gave up 5 hits, which were 2 triples, a double, and 2 singles. He issued 5 walks, recorded 4 strikeouts. He over his mere 4 innings threw 90 pitches, 51 strikes, 39 balls. But to Alvarez's credit, he navigated the many, and I mean many, guys on the base pass in a pretty good way. And the Nats bullpen came through in this game. 4 Nats relievers officially combined to allow 1 run in 5 innings. A few hiccups, but otherwise, I mean, the overall body of work from the bullpen in this game was good. Brad Lord, he officially tossed 2 2/3 scoreless innings, despite giving up a double and 2 singles, despite issuing 2 walks, and despite shortstop C.J. Abrams committing a fielding error. Now, Lord did give up a significant hit, came into the game in the bottom of the 5th. He to the second batter he faced, gave up a 1-out full count, 2-run double by Jung-Hoo Lee down the right field line to cut the Nats lead to 3-2. The ball going right by first baseman Luis Garcia Jr. as he made a falling/diving attempt at a catch. Look, Garcia right now is hitting, so certainly don't want to hit him too hard here, but the defense at first still leaves some things to be desired. That was not an easy play to make, but that's a play you'd like to see a first baseman make, and Garcia did not. Anyway, Richard Lovelady, he faced 1 batter, got 1 out. It was a big out, came into the game in the bottom of the 7th. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Nats up 5-2, and Lovelady got pinch hitter Buddy Kennedy to line out for the 3rd out. Clayton Beeter mercifully gave us a perfect bottom of the 8th on just 11 pitches. Efficiency from Beeter right there. Love seeing that. And then Orlando Revolta actually allowed a run in 1 inning. Bottom of the 9th, gave up a 2-out solo homer by Bryce Eldridge to center field on a 1-2 pitch to cut the Nats lead to 6-3. So ultimately, the Nats allowed just 3 runs over 9 innings, despite Nats pitchers combining to allow 9 hits and combining to issue 7 walks. 9 hits and 7 walks doesn't normally result in 3 runs allowed, but that's what we got in this game.
They were pitching in trouble the entire night. And aside from that 1 inning, and really just that 1 hit that Lord gave up, they kept getting out of it. I know this was not a pretty night for Andrew Alvarez, but he got through his first 4 innings. He put a runner on third base in every single inning and didn't allow that guy to score. And so while there was a lot to talk about there about, him needing to be much better with his command, 5 walks that he issued, that's not going to fly in the long run. But he did show something in his ability to dig deep when he absolutely had to and get some big outs to get through that. The double that Lord gave up, Jung-Hoo Lee is on fire right now. He's on, I think it's a 17-game hitting streak, but it's multiple hits in most of those games. He is almost an impossible at bat right now. So you kind of let that one slide. To me, Lord's the hero of the game because he didn't give up anything after that. He suffered what looked like a really bad ankle injury on a little roller back to the mound. His ankle got completely twisted up underneath him, and he was hobbling significantly. Stayed in the game, finished that inning, and then came back and pitched another inning for them. 57 pitches from Brad Lord, a lot of those on a bad ankle. He continues to be the unsung hero of this pitching staff, and I will continue to make this point. I don't know if anybody disagrees with me by now. I hope everyone's on board with this. This is why he is more valuable to them as a reliever than as a starter, because he can come in multiple times a week and give you those kind of performances that bridge the gap from the starter to the back of the bullpen. He has just been so valuable this year.
And him staying in that game and seemingly being all right with this ankle ailment. We'll see in the coming days.
Yeah, I know Lordy had the scare there on that PFP, but he's fine, just a little sore. Should be all right.
But staying in the game, seemingly being all right, despite suffering that ankle ailment, it's another example of how blessed the Nats are in terms of injury luck this season. You know, the Washington, D.C. baseball angels in the sky are looking down on this team and giving this team grace and giving this team good fortune. Walter Johnson, Frank Howard, Frank Robinson, Davey Johnson, they're looking down on this team and smiling and aiding this team. Just a lot of things going in this team's way, and a chance for a 3-game sweep at the Giants. Game 3, Wednesday afternoon, 3:45. The Nats have listed Foster Griffin as their probable starting pitcher for the game. The Nats, of course, were in this spot in the series that the Diamondbacks ended up losing Game 3, the 5-1 loss this past Sunday. Even if the Nats lose on Wednesday, I mean, still, you're looking at a 4-2 trip out west, but the chance to go 5-1 over these 6 games at Arizona and San Francisco with a nice homestand coming up. Man, what an achievement it would be if the Nats do get the win on Wednesday.
Look, they have not been good in day games. They have not been good when they've had the chance to sweep a series, and, pick your reason for why you think that is. So it would not shock me if they lay an egg on Wednesday at the end of an otherwise hugely successful trip. But I will say, having Foster Griffin on the mound, I think, is helpful. We've seen lefties matching up with the Giants much better than righties do, so it's a fortuitous matchup from the Nationals' standpoint. The bullpen's kind of beat up now with what they had to do the last few nights, so they could use some length from Griffin, of course. If the offense can keep getting things going, especially early on, that's going to give them a chance. They have a chance to get to 3 games over 500 for the first time in a very, very long time, a stat I've been waiting to share, but not until it actually happens. Do I expect it to happen? I would not be shocked if they have another struggle of a game on the day game getaway day. But if they can pull it off, it would really complete a very impressive stretch for them and send them home in playoff position. They would be, if they win the game, at least tied for a playoff spot when they take the field this weekend.
And the Giants figured to have a depleted bullpen, with Giants manager Tony Vitello having to use 5 different relief pitchers in this game late night on Tuesday night. It's funny, Logan Webb gave the Giants such length in Game 1 of this series, and all of that bullpen preservation got undone in Game 2 of this series with how bad the Giants pitching was and how many relievers San Francisco ended up having to use. So this installment of Nats Chat brought to us by Table to Mat, which you can count on for all of your nutrition and personal training needs. Table to Mat offers virtual and in-person nutrition services and personal training to the DMV area. You can email Table to Mat directly through the website at tabletomat.com. That's the word table, the number 2, MAT.com. You can call Table to Mat at 240-388-2206. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat, courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. Don't forget, we have Nats Chat podcast t-shirts. A new shipment has come in. We always appreciate the support very much. You can get your Nats Chat podcast t-shirt by going to our website, natschatpodcast.com. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat podcast.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Lovelady ready. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball hit in the air to center field. Young moving back. He's there waiting, and he makes the catch for the out. And the inning is over. Lovelady puts out the fire. No runs, 1 hit for the Giants. There was a walk and error and 3 men left on. They've left a boatload on tonight.